Welcome to Two Balls and a Mic, where we have a substitution. Chiva cannot be here today, so we have the great Alan Underwood as the secondary ball today. Here in studio for the first time. You are the second person to be here. The other one was obviously a little bit different, but
hopefully I'll be less controversial. But no, this is, I think, just like the team for the South I've been in a really long time.
yeah, like they haven't played in Cholos against Cholos in TJ, so we're still waiting on that.
Right.
Like, what's the excuse now? I mean, obviously in season, got it, but like. You know, are Loyal going to play? Because right now, San Diego, Cholos Cuitles are in preseason. They just released their new kit. So last year, I think they had a match where it was in season for Loyal, right? And their preseason?
I think so, because it was in the middle of our season. They came up and they were like, "We're going to roll them in our preseason," and then they were like, "Oh, they're better than we thought they would be."
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know how they would fare at this point because. San Diego Loyal has been different. I don't know. Something's going on. And the excuse was, oh, this is San Diego Loyal away. This is San Diego Loyal not playing at home in front of their fans, in front of their adoring fans, which I jumped into 109 for a little bit just to even out the suntan / sunburn. Unwisely did not put enough sunscreen. I was warned, actually. You guys told me because we were there earlier.
Yeah. It gets pretty brutal, and then you're in it, and you just forget, like you forget because you're singing and dancing and playing around or drumming, and you just forget to put on sunscreen, and then all of a sudden it's the 80th minute, and you're like, oh, my face is on fire.
Yeah, and it doesn't like absorb if you're sweating as well. So that was my excuse. Now it's just sweat everywhere. Pan dulce about to be a daily breakfast. We're talking about pan dulce right now.
Yeah. That just means like a commitment to go get it all the time, because I would just eat all of it in like a couple days. Mm-hmm. And so just like, oh, I was supposed to make this last the whole week. The ones like the heart-shaped ones.
Yeah.
Those ones I think save a little bit better, especially like coffee in the morning. But I like to get the ones with like the chocolate chips on the outside. It's like the roll looking one with the chocolate chip with some honey on top.
Okay.
Like those are the bomb for me. I don't know why.
I've never thought of describing pan dulce in English, and you're doing a good job. Because I'm like, okay, there's this one, there's this one.
Yeah, that's like I asked my wife the first time we went. I was like, "What do you want?" She was like, "I don't know what they have." And I was like, "I don't know what they have." And when I'm in there, I'm just gonna show you a picture. You just point to I'll take them really close.
Yeah.
And you just tell me which ones. And so like, there's like one with it's like folded corners with like it almost looks like it's fruit, but it's not fruit in the middle. It's got like little folded corners, and it's like a custard filling, but the way that they burn the sugar on the top makes it look like a little bit of fruit. The ones with like the cracked top, those ones are fun.
Okay. This is fun. This is what Two Balls and a Mic is with Alan Underwood. We could just go straight into food because we really don't want to talk about San Diego Loyal and everything that happened. But do you see said pastry?
I don't, but that's all right. If we, I think maybe over here.
Ooh, okay.
We like zoom in.
See if we can zoom in.
Oh, maybe it's like this kind of like. Welcome back, Tony. You got Pinterest?
Yeah, I work with children, elementary school children, and you have to. It's an incredible resource.
Oh, Pinterest. It's kind. I think it's kind of like this guy right here.
Okay.
But yeah, we actually made some of the ones where the thing like cracks and it makes it look a little bit like a brain.
By the way, you made pasta. How was the pasta?
Oh, the pasta was good. It was good, and it's pretty easy. Like. If you guys want to make pasta, it's pretty easy. It's like eggs, flour, some salt, some olive oil, a lot of kneading. We got a little tired, but we had a pasta. It's the thing that like flattens it out, so we didn't have to roll it out.
Do you have a KitchenAid?
Oh yeah, we have a KitchenAid that we got when we got married. That was one of the things. But we don't have the pasta slicer, so I had to do old school where I rolled it up and then like cut it with a knife to make like fettuccine noodles, and it was pretty good.
So what like it's gonna just be a regular occurrence now?
Yeah, I mean it takes about an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have an evening free and you have some eggs and flour, it was. And now we have to experiment with like what do you add to the flour to add maybe a little bit of extra something. But I mean because it's so fresh, you only cook it for a minute.
Yeah. That's the advantage of not having that process.
Yeah,
like just the dark secrets of what we eat is
Yeah.
It's weird, and how we get to like it being there, down to like gross, Taco Bell cinnamon rolls and how that's pasta. So that's a different story. But you had a lot of
Cinnamon
time.
twists.
You had a lot of time in the afternoon to make pasta because San Diego Loyal had a day game. Historically, San Diego Loyal has not done very well in day games.
True.
We were there before because we were allowed to be and record a podcast that'll be coming out later on this week.
Yep.
From the bowels, from within, from from the top, because the bowels is underneath.
Yes.
Atop of the concourse of the stadium before the match, and that was pretty cool. I know you've done that with the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. That's actually how I got the idea to do something like that.
Yeah.
But officially, Two Balls and a Mic, along with Alan Underwood, have been the first podcast, I believe, to have a show from Torero on a match day. Yeah. It's not a match day live post-game show, but I'll take the technicality. So that was pretty fun. You like that?
Yeah, it was enjoyable. It was nice to get into the stadium. You get the feel of the environment, the weather. It's just nice being there, too. You just feel connected to what's going on. And then, you get to talk about the game at the match. And
can you see that screen?
I can see the comment at the bottom. I can't see the comments along the top. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just okay, cool.
Bread talk.
By the way, what do you think of just be just completely honest? You are literally in a garage. I told you not to judge, mostly because I want you to judge now.
No, it's one of those the magic of the studio kind of deals. Like, you don't realize, like, in movies, sets, and television programs, like, how janky it is until, but the part that you see is really great.
Yeah.
But then everything else is like duct tape and thrown together, and
it's very rock and roll. I think
it is.
It's rock and roll, and I come from that. If it's not, it's not. I know that's not how you think. From the Dave Grohl, it shouldn't be perfect on a live. It shouldn't sound like the record.
It shouldn't, and I agree with that. I love live performances because mistakes are part of human existence. I think live performances, you can feel the energy for the musicians, whereas the studio albums can be kind of stale at times. It can be not stale. That's not the right word.
It just
sterile. It's sterile,
yes,
right?
yes,
because
yes.
part of being a musician is the feedback from the audience too. Yeah. Same thing with sports, right? When we talked about them playing in front of an empty stadium, it just feels different. The energy is different, so you perform different. But this feels very much like we're a double bass pedal and some amps away from just a regular rock band, and I love it. I love it. I never got to be in a garage band, so this is
this is very similar to it. I actually was in a garage band back in 2011 called Interscape. First show, obviously the DJ at Portugalia in OB had an open mic called us Inner Space. Get lost in space with Inner Space.
All right.
Played Soma side stage, so that was fun.
All right.
Just brushing off my, musical chops. But talking about human beings and their mistakes when performing, San Diego Loyal has a couple human beings that may have made some mistakes. So this was the starting lineup that we had. Obviously, the news: John Kempen no longer in San Diego. He is back in D.C. For the shortest loan, I think. I think Mayer actually contends with him last season, where he came in,
he was not there,
left, and went back to Nashville.
Although the loan from Trejo's loan from Vegas to LAFC to back to Vegas might.
Yeah, no, that definitely trumps it. So in goal, you have Austin Guerrero, Elijah Martin, Stoneman, Kyle Adams, Nick Moon. In the midfield, you have Captain Charlie Adams, Colin Martin, Alejandro Guido. Surprisingly, I think some people were interesting with Jack Blake in the starting 11.
Yeah.
Evan Conway and Thomas Among. Noteworthy that Kyle Vassell is on the bench, I would say, for this game. Yeah. We got a reason at the end. Landon said that, hey, it's because he's played a lot of games and, we want to be smart with how we do things. But I think it might have turned out differently, this match. But going into it, you see the starting lineup against the Las Vegas Lights that you are very well aware is not the worst of teams. It's the table's deceiving because they're so close. So what was going through your mind?
I mean, I get the justification why Vassell's not starting, right? You can't, this isn't like a video game where you can literally start the same player every game. you have to rotate from time to time, especially a guy like Vassell. You want him there when the games are gonna, matter in the playoffs, right? That's the goal. If you're gonna get to the playoffs, you want a team and a player that can be available when the games really, really matter. And so, you sit a guy knowing that you have Among and Conway that are gonna do a job. And, for the first 20 minutes of this match, this was a good lineup. You know what I mean? The first 20 minutes or so, there was a lot to be really happy about. And San Diego played a really nice game. High press, turning the ball over high, getting really nice chances. And you thought, hey, this is gonna bear some fruit pretty quickly. And Vegas, on the flip side, they've played one more game and have 4 less points. So it's not last year's Vegas, right?
No, definitely not last year's Vegas. And as you were saying, like it's you can say what you want in retrospect of like, wow, this game went this way.
Right.
Talking about those first couple minutes, like San Diego Loyal was absolutely dominant. It looked like, yeah, this is how it should go. This is how the script is written this way on 619 day.
Right. We weren't even set up ready to like record stuff when this penalty happens. Like I barely got down. I had my cell phone out and I was going to take a video of this penalty. Guido definitely does a really good job to sell it. There's contact. I mean, the boot's up. You're going to get a pen on that every time. And I was like, all right, you can see me right above the blue boards, like setting my cell phone down on the board to try to settle it because I don't have a tripod.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, I'm going to get this. This is going to be a goal. I'm going to send it to Tony, and he'll put it in, and then
Chiva was getting haggled by the security guy for not having his trusty little vest.
Yes.
Sure.
The vest though does remind me of remember those like popsicles, like those orange and like
that split in half.
No, like the big stick ones.
Oh yes,
that's what it reminds me of. And I'm like, I didn't really like those then either.
Yeah, no.
And now I look like one. I look like a giant fat orange popsicle.
At least yours doesn't look like a sports bra. Like it's like they really like. It's funny. It's funny. Look like you're watching Bug's Life.
It's been a minute.
Well, the big like worm.
Yeah,
I'm a beautiful butterfly.
Yeah,
that's kind of like what I look like. Contained like some sort of.
I
insect.
think they bought youth sizes. I'm convinced they bought youth sizes because like no normal human. I mean, the guy from like Channel 7 looked like pretty normal in his, but he's like skinny.
He's a
jerk.
He's a healthy individual, healthy American individual.
And we talk about bread all the time. That's why I look the way I look. But Jack Blake takes the penalty, and I felt very confident. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you never really think that it's going to be a stop, right? Because the penalty most of the time it's a game of luck ultimately, and
there's a reason why penalties are like 0.79 xG. Like you're going to make them 80% of the time. Like you're supposed to make them 80% of the time. Does he come off his line?
Let's look. Yes, but is it enough to say replay it?
His right. No, I think his heel. I mean, his heel's off the ground, but unless it's like blatant, I don't think they're gonna call it. Like I've seen it called. Like Oakland's goalkeeper got called for this in the playoffs to essentially give Damas another kick to win the game, but he takes a step forward. Like, that's as close as you can get. I don't think the linesman's calling that. And it's not really that great of a penalty, to be honest.
It's really not. And I was actually standing with President Ricardo Campos at this point because I was still taking stuff down and taking it to the car.
Yeah.
I had my phone out. Yeah. I was ready in a great new angle, and I'm like, "Cool, come on, Blake, you're gonna make this." And ended up missing it and just kept walking, bumped into Ricardo. I'm like, so what'd you think? Like, yeah, it was a confidence boost. And, or in this case, not a confidence boost for Blake because right after he gets a yellow card, like, it was just not – like, if you told me this was going to happen if you start Blake, I would have believed you.
Yeah.
Like, hey, he's going to take a penalty early on. He's going to miss it. He's going to get a yellow card. In the form that he's been playing recently,
It's not there, and we talked about this. And if you keep it in, great. If you cut it out, great. But I mentioned like this is kind of still a little bit of a preseason kind of deal. Like he's not as sharp. I talked to his wife, and they were like super happy that he's starting again because it's been a long journey to get him back on the pitch, for sure. And you would hope that things go better, but I mean, you put him out there because maybe you're hoping for a little bit, like see the ball go in the back of the net, and it really boosts his confidence.
Yeah, and maybe that's what he needs, right?
Yeah,
And that's why you give that to him because, again, 90% of the time, a penalty will most likely end up in the back of the net.
Right.
This in itself, not the greatest of penalties. It was a good stop because with what he stopped it with is essentially the underneath of his elbow underarm.
Yeah.
And that is like the death hole for keepers when the ball
it almost skips in. Like,
it really did, and it could have been a goal, but it was a great stop. Ball goes out, and I'm like, all right, just keep walking, and lo and behold, this is kind of a preview of what would happen as the match progressed. Because, man, goalkeeper, I believe it was El Salvador, or Donde? Where is he from?
Who? Abraham Romero.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where he's grew up. He was with Orange County last year. I know that, and I believe he was in the LA system beforehand. But you talk about Jack Blake getting a boost of confidence. I think this gives Abraham Romero a big boost of confidence.
Yeah.
For the rest of the match. He is born in Pasadena, California.
American.
Cool. But previously in the Mexico U21. So maybe this is what gives Romero the boost of confidence, because he was hyped. And I mean, to be fair, like he had a really rough year last year. And he didn't get the minutes he wanted. And so he has a point to prove, and he is really trying to prove a point that he is a USL goalkeeper, a number one goalkeeper. So, like, he's playing against these teams like Orange County and San Diego. He's got a point to prove. Like, I should have been Orange County's number one. I mean, Rakowski was amazing down the stretch. You can't really blame him, but he had a point to prove. But, Guido doing Guido things.
If the penalty doesn't get missed, maybe this beauty doesn't get scored.
Correct.
And at the end of the day, what is that worth on the points? It is what it is, but still, like, that's just enjoy it for what it is. Alejandro Guido, just a worldie.
Yeah. I missed this one because it literally comes out of nowhere from where I'm sitting. Like, it's just Guido dribbling up the pitch, right? Like he does. But we've seen this before from him, right? This ability to dribble and beat a guy to create space and then just rocket a shot in. And I mean, it literally it's a 3-on-1, and then he just dribbles around a guy, and like I was like, he's shooting it, and just like a knuckler that's hard for the keeper to get. Now, to be fair, like there's a couple other goals later in the game that Romero gets to, and he almost gets to this one too.
It's absolutely nothing that he misses that ball by.
Like he gets a finger on it.
Gets a finger on it, and that's a keeper who's not well positioned, not expecting a shot from this range, placed exactly with the pace that it needs. If it's just 0.5% slower, that gets tipped and it's a corner, or it hits the crossbar.
Yeah, but I mean that's just a nice knuckling ball that just kind of it's dipping enough so it's not rising. It's just a really well struck ball, and a heck of a play by Charlie to get out of essentially a triple team.
Yeah, 3 players, and that's not necessarily something that you associate Charlie with. You associate it with passes. You associate it with some good holding midfield play.
Must be the new haircut.
Absolutely. Like, just boom, gets fouled between 3, just offloads it. I think, in the chain of events, right? Like in soccer, you just kind of feel the flair of somebody who's coming back. Yeah. He just felt that shimmy that I need to go to the right, and Guido just sees it and just gives that extra boost of confidence.
It's also that right here, this deception that really pulls the defender out. And, I mean, that's what, like, Maradona talks about. Like, soccer is deception. And so I think that's what we miss a lot of that because it's hard to see. But Guido's been really good at that deception lately about making a player feel like he's going one way but doesn't. And this play I think this is a perfect encapsulation of what Guido's bringing to the team this season is that play.
But he needs to keep it up and be consistent. That's the thing. And he had been in the beginning of the season when he was
Correct.
that MVP form. That's why I don't like that like MVP talks in like after the first 5, 6, 7 games because
Yeah.
things like this happen, right? Obviously, I don't know. Something shocked me. It was wild. But no, like Alejandro Guido's form was just at its peak, but there's dips and valleys. And after that Oakland game where he comes off injured, he just slowly started coming back. Still was playing quality,
Yep.
but not necessarily at that level.
Yeah. Yeah. I think him and Colin Martin probably had the best games of the team. Yeah.
See Sam from the Chavos Peep, Travis Drew, myself going crazy to the right of the goal. What a banger!
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you expect with the players that are on the field,
Correct.
and hopefully more of this. But we keep saying more of this because I'm looking at it. There's 3 minutes left in this highlight reel, but that's the only goal San Diego Loyal scored.
Correct. It's the
So-
only one they scored, yeah. And yeah, well I'll get to those moments later, but Vegas is, a quality team. Jennings is no joke. He's got speed. That's just a beautiful ball. Like I'm not sure that's necessarily Adams' fault. Like this is on a break and like Stoneman doesn't run with him, and now Adams has to recover, and he's just a step behind. Because I mean, to be fair, Cal Jennings is a player. Like he's no joke a player.
Yeah.
This is a great ball into space, and this is what Vegas was doing. This is what Vegas was doing to San Diego a lot. It wasn't like San Diego tries to direct passes. Vegas was playing balls into space, knowing that their players could get there, and kind of exploiting the space that San Diego was giving them, and they're really smart about that.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of this more against Loyal, even in those away games where they'll just go at them with the speed, and one of them is gonna eventually penetrate. Grant Stoneman, Kyle Adams just get dusted. And that's my thing, right? And that's an issue because the solution would be like, all right, well, you're gonna play a matchup, get base game. Maybe do you switch Boxel in there? Who do you switch? Because nobody's going to be fast enough.
Yeah, because
Like,
Boxel, we saw him get dusted too.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And that's, to be fair, like it was a lesson I learned early on when I was watching Orange County. You had a guy named Walker Hume, and he was tall and he was great in the air, like Kyle Adams is. Now I would say Kyle Adams is better than Walker Hume, but I was like, man, if only he was faster. And they said if he was faster, he would be an MLS.
Yeah.
And so you're gonna have these people who can take advantage of and exploit these weaknesses. Now, I think the ball is placed so well that Adams is not in a great place to try and catch this ball. It looks like he should be, but if you hit play, like it's just position, and he's trying. He's almost there. Like he's almost there, and then so the other thing is the ball is placed so well that the keeper can't come out and get it either. Like it's just not hard enough. Like you can't come out and sweeper keep that ball either.
Yeah, because it was a perfectly weighted ball. That's what makes this pass so good, right? So I'm looking at right now at our buddy Eric on the comments saying Austin wasn't in a good position. Where would you have rather him be? Like he's in a position where his center backs are close enough where, in theory, they shouldn't be dusted as they were. There was too much space in there to begin with.
Right.
In retrospect, that's the things you kind of go with, but we're only talking about it because it worked for them.
Right. And now if he comes out more. Right, if he comes out and tries to cut that down, now he's in no man's land, and Cal can just chip him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. And so you always have to protect the back. Maybe if we're going to be critical of this necessarily, like maybe he could have protected his left a little bit better, like his near post, but
knowing that Adams is coming from that and might block the far post, but
exactly, and that she's just eliminating. The pass into the middle, you should have known that nobody's in the middle, so that kind of takes that out. Maybe a length game where Coque Vegas is a little taller, know,
or pulls a De Gea and tries to kick it. But
yeah, and so after the game, even I just caught up with Austin a little bit, and he's just first thing he said is like, that's fucking 2-on-1s are just. It's just difficult to
yeah, and he squeezes that in. That's a really nice taken goal. Like. Sometimes you just have to tip your cap to a guy who, like, and some of our strikers might take note of this type of shot where it's just low and hard, where it's hard for a goalie to get down. You know what I mean? Like, he's setting himself, but it's hard to get down to stop that shot, a low hard shot. Get Yarrow back.
Yeah, that's one thing, right? Like, how much do you miss Yarrow? Like, how much is his team missing? How much is Rand Stoneman missing Yarrow? Like,
Yeah.
but yeah,
But I mean, and that's why Yarrow is getting a look with a future MLS club, is because like he did the job he needed to do here, and people are like, he's gonna be good enough for the next level. And it's not like San Diego didn't have their chances and didn't play this. I mean, this high press, like this next clip, it's like these turnovers are 30 yards, maybe 35 yards from goal, and that's what that's where San Diego wants to be. And again, low hard shot.
that's a really good stop. Like,
Romero
that's
gets down.
incredibly difficult stop for the pace that ball had and everything, the proximity of it. Among's shots are no joke. That was a really good stop. And to add to that, just that list of great things that our buddy did on the other side in the goalkeeping net.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'd rather him come off the line for Austin, sure. But again, he gets chipped, then people are gonna be talking shit about that. Like, we can't talk about what didn't happen, because what did happen ended up being a goal anyways. Just like this right here, the beginning of the second half.
It looks like our center backs are again flat-footed. Like you're essentially three, like Charlie Adams, Kyle Adams, Stoneman. Now, Kyle makes a pretty good stop there, right? He blocks the pass, but it rebounds around, and all of a sudden now Trejo is in control, right? And Stoneman doesn't really stay in front of him. Like, Kyle does the best job he can. He kind of gets an unfortunate bounce. And then now it's two guys trying to fight for the same space, and Trejo is just slippery and gets the position, and like this is what makes Vegas dangerous, is this kid right here who is going to be at the next level soon.
Yeah, and that's something that was mentioned again, but I do have to kind of agree, is that goal was nasty, but embarrassing.
Yes.
And my thing for this one is I saw this directly in front of 109, and I was not happy about it, because there's so much that could have gone differently. And yeah, he made a good tackle. Kyle Adams did. But in this moment, there's four individuals. I'd rather you bring him down, break his leg, put him on the injury reserve list, get your red card, but he does not go through or shoot. And so I don't blame Carlangas, Charlie Adams that much, but if you're also coming from the back, you also see exactly, what's going to transpire here. You should also kind of, in good, defensive faith, run behind him just in case. But even then, like, I'm looking at this as they had time. They had time to step up. There wasn't any sense of urgency to defend at this point. Grant could have put a foot in at that point.
Yeah, it's like they were almost afraid to foul him to get a penalty.
Yeah. And
because of that, he was just like, all right, well, you're not going to do anything. I'm just going to walk through you. Mm-hmm. And, I think if you asked either of them, they would have probably done it differently. But, and it's unfortunate, too, because I think Adams had such a great day in the air. Like, he won so many headers and stopped that ability to get Cal Jennings through. It's also kind of a weird save for Austin, too. Like, it's so close, and you're just trying to react to it, and it's just kind of pops up over his arm. But it's like Elijah's there, too, covering the path. Like, so there's enough guys there that shouldn't have been a goal.
Roll the center back for Sam. Either the player or the ball gets through. Never both. Yes. And both in this case.
Yeah, both
ended up both on two different center backs.
Yeah.
In this one, I have to, if maybe this is the goal that Eric is talking about. I know it's not, but I could argue Austin could have probably come out a little bit at the moment of they don't have it together. I'm going to come out. No regard for human life. If you're in the way, at this point, you start coming out at least to the 18, to the small box.
Do you think? And I think this was the problem with Oakland too. Like the Oakland game he played, I think he came out and didn't play it and took the guy and got a penalty, and then it was Oakland. But at this point, like,
and again, those moments do live inside players' minds, because Austin came out and did come out like people are asking, like, why didn't he come out? Because last time he played at Torero and came out on that side of the field, he got torched by Louisville.
Yeah.
And those moments you just live, and the muscle memory just kind of kicks in. It's like, I shouldn't do this because we went over it in training, because that's what happens. You get screwed over one way, you mess up one way, we're going to work on that, and now you're just going to do that in the next time you face that situation.
And, I mean, and to be fair, like, San Diego still had looks. Like, this game wasn't over when Vegas scored.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, this game was still very much felt like San Diego had something to get out of this match, and unfortunately at this point it meant, like, all right, I guess it's a draw, but I think that there was still enough, and then Kyle Vassell comes on and he had a couple really nice looks. There was one I hoped Jack Metcalf would put it back on frame, but he doesn't. Like that, I mean, like this shot from Nick Moon, most days that goes in. Jack maybe he looks up and sees a Vegas guy there and says, no way I'm getting that in. He tries to chip it back in. Like, there were so many nice looks. Like, that one.
Carlton, that was a stop.
Right.
Like, if the goal for Guido was in top 10, I'm mad that that's not in top 10 for SportsCenter.
Right.
Because that is a wonderful stop.
So, I mean, and then there was one they didn't show on here, like the Kyle Vassell curler to the back corner, too. Like, I think there were probably, you can count up 3 saves that in any other day, or 2 of those are probably goals. Like, San Diego played this game where the result should have been 3-2, like, to be frank. And if you look at, like, underlying statistics and all of those things, like, San Diego, on most days, this is a 3-2 game. I think San Diego dominated the game. I think they had quite a few nice moments, but when a goalkeeper comes up with 5 saves and 4 of those saves are, maybe 3 of those saves could be nominated for save of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sometimes you just got to tip your hat. You can be mad, like, and go ahead and be mad.
Yeah.
Especially after, the run of form that San Diego's had on the road. Be mad, but in the grand scheme of things, like, sometimes you lose games you're supposed to win.
Yeah. It is upsetting. It is very upsetting, especially it's the big celebration, right? Even Vegas taking a stab at Loyal, saying, hey, invite us for your next 619 celebration. We'd love to come. It comes with the territory of losing and not being the winners in that case. But
I mean, it's also like the first time Vegas has beat San Diego. So they're going to rub it in even more.
Yeah, but ultimately, like, I don't know. What do you? Because then we asked Landon, "Hey, what did you think of this game?" And he's like, "Well, the performance is good." I'm getting tired of the same. Like, I need somebody to help him come up with a different, not necessarily excuse, but it's the same excuse for the past 2.5 years, 3 years.
Yeah, but you're asking a coach what the coach's perspective is, and like, the coach did everything that he could do to put the team in a position to win, right? Everything, like, the game plan was right, the press was right, like, the pattern of play was really good. You can't really coach away from defensive mistakes like that. I mean, those are just mental breakdowns, I think. Those aren't tactical issues. Those aren't game plan issues.
Yeah.
And on the offensive side, like, you saw, I mean, they had a bunch of really, really good chances, really worked chances in dangerous areas of the pitch. And so it's like, as a coaching staff, we did everything we were supposed to do, players. Mm-hmm. I think this is more on the players than necessarily the tactics or the design of the game. This is, guys, you need to either put that ball in the net, or the defense needs to step up, because I honestly don't think it's a tactical issue. I don't think it's a game plan issue.
So the players should have played better. The players that were on the field that were selected should have played better. Because then, okay.
You have to eliminate defensive mistakes.
Yes, but your offense has to provide that, the spark. Obviously,
Right.
if you get scored on, well, then just score more on the other side, and you have the firepower for that. I think. And if you're saying like, yeah, they should have, the tactical standpoint was fine, and like, would you have gone with that lineup? What would your lineup have been?
I mean, knowing what we know now about like health and wanting to like
Health
not
is wealth.
not burn Vassell, like you're not starting Vassell, okay? Your sports scientist guy says you need to give him a break. And I don't disagree with that. So you start who you start. I don't think the lineup was bad. I think the starting lineup was good. Like we saw the first 20 minutes. The first 20 minutes were great.
But does that starting 11 last you the 90? Because you could be the greatest team in 20 minutes, but is that team gonna last? And I don't like.
Right.
I don't know.
And that's a question too. Is like, all right, well, maybe some of those guys aren't starters. Maybe some of those guys are last 30-minuters.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a point to that, and that's why you do this during the season against a team that you probably should beat. Is you rotate some guys, and they just didn't get the job done the way they should have. And I think, if you watch literally any other sport, like good teams lose to teams that they should beat because you run into a hot goalkeeper, you run into a hot goalie in hockey, like you run into, a defense that just happens to play really well, or a guy who just like buries 18 3-pointers in a game, and all of a sudden a Cinderella story in the NCAA tournament. You know what I mean? There's examples of this all the time, and I get the sentiment, and people can be mad all they want. I'm going to be that glass half full and say I thought San Diego looked really good for a lot of the game, and so that's going to give me courage to know that San Diego's still a playoff team. I think we still have a lot of soccer to go.
Yeah.
We're not even halfway yet. We're a couple games away from halfway, and I think that the coaching staff is putting together a pretty good lineup. They're finding out who's going to work well for a starter, who's going to work well as a sub. I love that Jack Blake got a start. Like, I absolutely loved it.
Okay.
I think getting him out there and getting him a start is great. I don't think he performed particularly well.
Yes,
I think he would probably agree with that, but I
Yeah.
think getting him out there as a start is important. And in a long season, having him run out there as a start and getting, that experience and know what he needs to work on, I think it's fine. And fans are going to be mad, and they can be mad, and that's their job to be mad. You know what I mean? And I think the coaching staff understands that. I don't think Nate Miller was very happy with the game.
He was not. Like, he was on just pacing back and forth. Usually you'll see Nate on Father's Day just playing with his kids, having a great time, win or lose. Like, he'll be with the kids, putting a smile on. Not this time. He was just like a lion caged up, walking back and forth, darting eyes at Weston, who was taking kicks from 100 people from a certain penalty spot. So that's kind of the lowdown exclusive. Like, he went up to a couple people like, fuck are they doing? There's 100 men at the same spike.
So your players aren't particularly happy. The coaching staff isn't particularly happy. I think they know they could have done better, and I know that they would like to have that game back. But again, man, like Romero was having the game of his life, and sometimes that happens, right? If the goalkeeper is going to stop all of these amazing shots, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
Yeah, and then
I'll give you that one.
You probably shouldn't have given up 2 goals, but I mean, Cal Jennings and Trejo have done this to other teams, and I wouldn't be surprised when they play Phoenix that they do some damage against Phoenix too. Like, this is a different Las Vegas Lights team than the past. This is not last year where they just threw a bunch of guys down from LAFC. This is like, there's some good young stars. Las Vegas is turning into a little bit of Los Dos. And, if Los Dos came in and beat us 2-1 in a game like this, everyone like, oh, we should have won, but they wouldn't be as mad because it's not Vegas.
Yeah.
But Vegas is a 2 team.
Yeah, and it's just because it's not called LAFC 2 doesn't mean they're not necessarily LAFC 2. Yeah. Do you consider yourself a homer? Not a shot at all, but is there some of that, do you feel?
I mean, you can't help but not be, right?
Yeah.
You develop relationship with the team, and so I think you give them the benefit of the doubt, or I give them the benefit of the doubt probably more often than I should have, than I should.
But it's fair. It's fair.
But I think there are voices out there that are going to be a little bit different than that, and they have the space to say what they want to say. And I don't disagree with them, right? I don't disagree that people are unhappy. But I saw some stuff like, oh, San Diego isn't as serious. You know, they're like Phoenix. I was like, both of those things are not true. Like, this is a game. And I think next game, they're going to have a tough test against Indy 11. And they're going to have to show that they've learned from their previous mistakes. And can we stop having afternoon day games on Sunday, please?
Afternoon day games on Sunday are absolute killers for San Diego Loyal. Not just for San Diego Loyal, I'll say, because I'll be honest, it was a wacky, wacky day. I forgot my Bumblebee Man vest for media.
Yeah.
Conveniently, I just haven't cut the sides to make it like fit.
Yeah.
So I went into 109 with the locals, and that sun burns bright, and that sun tires out. But, thank you for. I led a "We Are" chant. That was really fun. That was incredibly fun. Thank you, everybody, for helping me. Where's Chiva? Talk about it on the post. There's not a post. Don't worry about it. But in any case, like it was fun to get out there, and I'll do it when I can. And just like I've wanted to go up there and just lose my mind for whatever piece of the game. Not happy with the people who are just standing there though. Like, and I know this has been an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
And if you look to Loyal Locals podcast, like going back to this inception, like it's like what? Come on! Like I felt like the section could have done a little bit more. There's people who are drumming, people who are singing, people who are going absolute apeshit the whole time, as they should.
Yeah.
But, like, if it just needed a little oomph. And I feel like it was reflected on the field in a way. Like, I've heard 109 be much louder with much less people.
Yeah.
And that's including me. If I could have been louder, I'm sorry, I lost my voice like 5 minutes in. Like, the conditioning of the voice is very, very important for that. But, I mean, I don't know. Like it was just a very. It was a day for celebration. It was a day for joy, happiness, new kits, new this, like new campaign. The horses, fantastic. Like
it did have a weird. It almost felt like opening day. It felt like a weird vibe.
Yeah.
Where it was a little bit nervy. Jason, yes, Trejo did play on Saturday for LAFC.
40 minutes.
A little bit less. I think. A little bit less than that, but he did register his first MLS start and first MLS assist against freaking Seattle. Like he was playing against the Seattle. I almost said Supersonics. That is not a team that exists anymore. RAP. But yeah, it did feel a little weird. I mean, I think some of those day games. I think the team likes the day games because they can sell tickets to families, and I get that.
Yeah.
But because of that, the vibe is different. The energy is different. It's not the same like diehard soccer fans. It's like more family. It's hotter too, so it's like
very hot.
The 90 minutes you're like barely hanging on, versus the night games where it's 9 o'clock and you get that nice cool breeze, and it's just like reinvigorating because it's like, this feels great.
Yeah, but on the inverse, on the other side, San Diego Wave have had a couple of day games too.
Yeah,
and they packed the shit out of that. And my thing is, this is the marquee game for San Diego Loyal. The birthday, Juneteenth. Add on top of that the marketing just of the New Jersey and everything. Like that should have been a sold out stadium, which it wasn't. I'm not no ill will on anybody. People work incredibly hard to get those people's butts in those seats. Yeah, and the people who are there enjoy it. But I mean, I don't think that's the best, because that stadium should have been filled, and that's not for me to worry about. But let's pick it up.
Yeah, and I think it boils down to like word of mouth only gets you so far. Like I think this is what Orange County folks have talked about. Like I was talking to super fan Andy of Orange. He's like produces the Orange and Black Soccer Cast now, and we were talking about Orange County a couple years ago. And they're like, well, why don't you just invite people? He's like, people are sick of me inviting them because I invite people all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it's at some point, like, it's on the club to bring people in.
Yeah.
And they do a pretty decent job of some things, but I think if you're like, hey, there's a soccer team playing on Sunday, or even educating the people who work there that this is a professional soccer club that...
Oh, my God. So, okay. We're setting up because we got moved. You'll see it in the pod comes back like we had the great background. They're like, no, that's gonna block the walkway. Well, on the other side.
Yeah.
So while that's happening, you guys went to get your credentials in Lemonade, and I'm listening to this guy who's giving a pep talk. Like this is like a pep talk for Friday Night Lights of we're about to have the greatest concession day of all time. This is who this man is. You'll see him if anything goes wrong with the thing. By the way, San Diego Loyal. This is a USD employee, by the way.
Yes.
San Diego Loyal. Some of you guys have worked wave games, but this is a little different. Like, yeah, they're professional, but at the end of the day, these players go to their day jobs and whatnot. Just talking all this incorrect shit. But
yeah.
But this team hasn't proved them or that guy wrong.
Yeah, I think it's going to take some time to develop that fan base, to develop that kind of understanding. I mean, the Sockers have been around forever, and they still deal with a lot of the same issues, right? And I think they are a little bit more like that, where they have the day job thing. But it goes down to people's view of the USL being this like minor league.
Yeah.
And it's understandable we make that connection, but it's like it's not. It's a professional league. These guys are full-time soccer players, and maybe in the off season some guys have some gigs, but at the end of the day, we can be unhappy, but don't be Phoenix fans and realize that San Diego is still very much in the playoff picture. They still have a game in hand against the teams that are hovering around the playoff line and 3 points in front of them. Sacramento and New Mexico are playing out of their minds right now. New Mexico United hasn't lost in, I think 6 games now.
Wow.
San Antonio is just as legit as they were last year. Colorado Springs is phenomenal. So, I'm not sure San Diego was going to catch either of those two teams anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I think right now San Diego is in that realm of New Mexico and Sacramento. I would put them in front of El Paso and RGV, and then, the rest of them. So San Diego is still very much where they need to be and where they want to be. And again, it's a 34-game season. We're 15 games in. Mm-hmm. If we lose our mind every time we lose, we're going to lose our mind a lot.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say a lot. We're going to lose our mind more than we probably should.
Yeah, and it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Correct.
And we're dead smack in the middle of the marathon.
Yeah.
And if you're third place out of 13, there's 10 other teams behind you at this point. But just don't become complacent, and let's get some more green on that win column, because
yes,
this team is capable of that. And
correct.
This is what we talk about every single time that they end up losing, is that this team is capable of doing exactly what.
Yeah. San Diego's still third place in points per game at home in the West.
Nice.
So they're 2.14 points per game at home. As San Antonio and LA are just behind them at 2 points. Sacramento and Colorado Springs are the top two. Sacramento's 2.43 and Colorado Springs is 2.5. So they're right in that hunt. Away points per game, not as good. They're right around El Paso and Las Vegas in 6th place, points per game on the road. But they are right in that mix of kind of that 4 through 8. Colorado Springs is playing. Colorado Springs wins more games on the road than they do at home. They do better on the road, which is wild.
Especially in that new stadium that they have.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe that's why people are just rating on the parade at home.
Yeah.
But it's not the worst place to be. But this did feel just like a gut punch.
Yes.
Overall, overall. 109. Get it together, people. Let's be friends, not foes. Let's keep your hands to yourself. Just in general.
Right. Give your hands.
This is what I have to tell the kids every day. Hey, buddy, make sure you keep your hands to yourself. You wouldn't want me to let everybody else know that you're not following directions right now, right? Because those are the directions that everybody has agreed upon here. Even if your directions are just a little bit different, still follow the directions.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I think we'll all be happy people.
It takes zero energy to be nice to somebody.
Really? You think that? I actually disagree.
I mean, if you're in a sporting event, it's super easy just to be like, cool. and I'm just like walking away.
Hello.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's San Diego Loyal. See
Yeah.
you later, Alan. Click.
Alan's such a nice guy.
No, you're the best. For those that are wondering, thank you, Nick. Tony and Alan earned the right to criticize 109 because they were involved. They miss your drums. Like your musical talent. Like I think the next class you should lead a community college class on like supporter group music theory.
Stay in time and count. I think counting is a big part.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This is how
Yes.
and I found myself doing this. I'm like, wait, that's not. And I try to get a rhythm. I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah, you just gotta find the groove. Like once you find finding the groove is different for everybody, but like doing something physical is always great.
Shout out because I was just standing and jumping for 90 minutes on the drums. Everybody who's involved waving the flags, put the flags up. Indy 11 preview for us.
Indy 11's been inconsistent. They brought in a new coach this offseason, the former El Paso Locomotive coach, who did amazing things down there. They've just been kind of inconsistent, not unlike the middle of the East, but they have some pretty good defenders. Noah Powder is one of them. He's been in the league for quite some time, was on the Real Monarchs team, I believe, that won 2019. Mm-hmm. The years go, and they keep on going. A name that San Diego fans would know is they signed Solomon Asante. From Phoenix. That's where he ended up. AJ Cochran's there, another name from USL. What's the word I'm looking for? He's been around a bit. Neville Hackshaw is another guy as well. They're a pretty good team. I wouldn't say they're amazing, but they've been kind of playing pretty similar to San Diego as far as kind of their wins and losses recently. But win, loss, win, draw, loss. Lost. They came back against Colorado Switchbacks and dropped.
Was Colorado at home?
They were at home, yeah. 4-3. They drew Indy 11. They kind of barely beat Charleston, although they've been playing better. They lost 2-1 to New Mexico. They beat Baby Bulls. So they're a quality club. They're going to be a tough match. I think Indy is going to have a tough time coming out this way.
Nick Moon play there?
Nick Moon did play there. I think that's where Nick Moon came from. Okay. Previous to San Diego he was in Indy for Indy 11. Away they are 2-2-4, 8 points in 8 games, 12 goals scored, 15 goals against. So it'll be a pretty decent matchup. I think San Diego again has enough talent to be able to get something out of this game.
Third game in a month. We didn't see Loyal at home for a while.
Yes.
It's going to be the third game here at home that people can go and cheer and enjoy. Will the home field advantage have any effect here, you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it is a tough place to come in and play, but I think Vegas has played in San Diego enough that it feels a little bit comfortable.
Yeah.
Like they have an understanding of the pitch. They know what it feels like. It's a very similar field size, actually. Mm-hmm. So it's not unlike. I mean, I think it's like San Diego playing in LA. I think San Diego likes to play in LA. I think he understands. So it doesn't feel like quite a home or away match. So Indy 11. Who else do I need to highlight? Manuel Arteaga is their number 9. He scored 2 goals against Colorado. And Mark Lowry is a quality coach. He's gonna do some great things. I mean, he's doing some great things there. Their back line can be gotten. Could be gotten. I mean, Colorado Springs put up 4 on them. Charleston put up 3 on them. So they can be scored on. But I think it's going to be another tough match. I think San Diego's gonna have to play a little bit better than they played against Vegas. But I honestly, think they don't. If they eliminate one of those defensive mistakes, one of those bangers is gonna go in.
Yeah,
and now it's a 2-1 win, 3-1 win. Right, we're dealing with fine margins. And I think that's the one thing to remind folks is that the USL is pretty darn competitive because, as Landon Donovan said, there aren't teams outspending other teams by a lot. Everyone's kind of in that same
stratosphere.
As far as talent and money spent. I do think that San Diego's a better team than Indy 11, and I think that they can get something out of it. But right now, Indy 11's sitting on the playoff bubble in the East, so they're not a bad team.
4th game in a row for them, Indy 11 on the road, is going to be this Saturday, June 25th at 7 p.m. at Torero Stadium. I mean, come on, like
3-1,
3-1,
2-1. Let's do 2-1.
Let's do 2-1. I think that's conservative, based on what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing from Loyal. I think that's a good victory. Koke Vegas spoke to him a little bit after. His English is getting better.
So good.
But we saw him just warming up at the end. I know some people saw him too, taking free kicks. He cannot do full sprints just yet, but that might change as training and the week goes by. So may not play for this game again. But traditionally it seems like they're going to be playing it on the safe side and holding off on that. So.
And one last note about Indy 11. This is their 4th away game in a row, coming off of probably a pretty emotionally draining game against Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
So this will be a tough test for Indy as well.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a let's see what they got. And like I said, I think San Diego can get something out of it. I don't think they need to change a whole lot. It's just eliminate 1 or 2 defensive mistakes and get one of those curlers to float into the top bin.
Yeah. If you're one of those people that does have something to get off your chest, loyal-wise, you can always talk to the people who have those avenues to the club, because that's the only way that you're going to be heard from the club itself. If that's commenting here, talking to people that people that are in that realm of influence, just do it. Like they're there to be talked to. This is your team, as we were told. This is your club. This is what you have worked for. This is what people who have worked blood, sweat, and tears to put the club where it is now. Just owe it to them. But, don't be afraid to do that. Jason says 3-1, 2 from rested Kyle Vassell. I like that.
Yeah. I think that's the one thing you have to keep your eye on is with Vassell is he's going to get rotated out.
Yeah.
And that's okay. We want him to stay healthy. We want him to stay good. And it's like I said, it's a long season. It's hot. We don't need to burn him for. I mean, it would have been nice to get a point or 3 points out of this, but I don't think you need to burn him when you got guys on the pitch who can do what Guido does.
Funny. I guess we could just take highlights and put it, and then we'll be retweeted by Loyal. Got it. Noted.
Check.
Little things that I like. I pick up. So okay, you're mid form podcast. What are your thoughts? In studio, you're like the flow. You've seen clicks and buttons. Like
I'm glad you're doing that. Like this is I barely got used to StreamYard, so I don't know if I can do with real buttons like that. Nope. I don't want to.
This is like, hey, you want to see what we're watching? Boom. Oh, okay. Back to us. Oh, there's a cool comment.
I would have
take
to
it off, put it on.
I would have to take that home and practice. I'm a musician. I need to do homework first.
Allen Cam. The Allen Cam's actually usually this one. There's nothing there.
Yeah. And I'm wearing as much Loyal gear as I can right now because I don't get to wear it on game day.
Yes, absolutely. Even though, you know what, you should. You just should. Just do it.
I would have to wear like a jacket, and that was not happening on Sunday.
Oh yeah, no. So that's your San Diego Loyal Underwood time with 2 balls and a mic. Again, if you're wondering, Chiva will be back soon. He just had to deal with some personal stuff, and he's at the border, so he's probably watching. He told me he was going to watch.
All right.
So he hasn't commented, which leads me to believe that he hasn't. The rest of the stadium was great with the response to the "We Are" out of 109. Yeah, the rest of the stadium has gotten better at that.
Correct.
So good job on doing that. Given that, Ricardo, we have Hola, güeyes. Do you know what that means?
Hello, something.
Way. Like, hey, way. Like, dude. Hey, way.
Hey, all right.
Hey, güeyes, plural for dudes.
Dudes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
See? You come this far, you just, through osmosis, you'll start...
Like,
you're
Next
full
week
of
I'll
San
be-
Diego loyal.
yeah.
Via osmosis, you're going to be more cultured. It's fine.
there you go. Let's go to Chicano Park.
You hear that's where they keep all the Mexicans?
That's what I heard. And
Yeah.
they let them out every once in a while. And they do those
yeah.
dances, and then they play some soccer.
You don't. You mean you don't have a traditional headdress made of eagle? Eagle.
Love the Scrubs reference.
Yeah.
Love that.
There's
Love the
see
Scrubs
there's
reference.
see there's things that I'm glad. Like we were talking about 311. We were talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
Pepper. We were talking
Yeah.
Scrubs. Like these are things that I don't usually bounce back and forth, and things don't usually bounce back from Chiva anymore because he lost all the weight.
Right.
So it's just.
I am very buoyant.
Yeah, shout out to everybody who's here. Does Underwood have an orange bib?
I do. It's in my car.
You're supposed to turn it in.
No, they don't let me keep it. They're like, you're gonna be back. I was like, okay, just don't forget it. I think I'm gonna cut the elastic off.
Yeah. See, that was my move, but then my girlfriend was like, "No, like we can cut it, then extend it." But I'm like,
No.
extending it's not the issue.
No.
Like it is, but it isn't. Like
it
it's just can cover this.
It's like a creepy uncle. It hugs me in all the wrong spots.
Yeah. Talking about creepy. I can't. San Diego Wave.
Yes.
Who have a creepy uncle of their own.
The one San Diego team that is in first place.
And they are. Oh, what did I do?
I don't know what you did.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
I know what I did. So San Diego Wave is the other team here in San Diego. This is what
Yeah.
That's not what I did actually.
Uh-oh.
See, this is where Chiva usually helps me because my eyes are terrible. Pop out chat. Found it. There you
Boom.
go.
Dope.
You sure you don't want to take command? Like this is.
You're doing so well. You're doing so well.
Aw, thank you. Let's talk about food a little bit.
Food?
Yeah.
Right now I'm hungry, so I'm usually like just about to eat dinner right now because my bit's over.
It's over.
My bit's over, and then
Yeah.
like Sarah's ready to eat, and so dinner's almost ready. Although we have leftovers from
Leftover
last night.
pasta. I really do appreciate the commitment.
She had some work to do, so she was finishing up some of her lawyering things. She was like, "Go ahead and have fun." I'm like, "Thanks."
Aw.
We've been cooped up, so it's like any excuse to get out of the house at this point has been.
Shout out to everybody who allows us to do this.
Right.
It's like
Yes.
like the fact that we have such wonderful badass partners that are
Yes.
like, go have fun. Like
Oh,
here,
talk
like it's
ab-
fine.
Yeah.
Another wave game, like okay, just bring me back a hat. Or-
Yeah.
yeah. So
She likes the stickers. She actually has a Loyal and a Wave sticker on her water bottle, and she loves them.
What's another one? I got a bunch of them just lying around.
I do need a Wave one for my water bottle. I don't have one yet. No, I'm not going to take yours.
Okay.
I'll just go to a game.
So San Diego Wave winning against Gotham. Gotham is the team that has received most of the Alex Morgan goals, which has now have her at 11.
She have 6 against them now?
Yeah.
She scored twice, right?
Yeah.
She had a brace, and yeah, that's wild. I think this is like the most goals she scored in a single season yet.
Yes.
Which is, first of all, that's wild that it's only 10.
Right?
But
Like, why is it only 10?
I think she's had some injury issues.
Okay.
I don't think she's played full seasons. Like I think she went and trained with Tottenham after she had a kid. Like she had a kid.
Yeah.
Like those kids.
You know that's listed as a season-long injury
Is-
in like WNBA. Like
Really?
so-and-so is out per ACL. So-and-so is out per,
Child.
there's a word,
Offspring.
birth. But yeah,
Birth.
so
I mean, good for them. Like that means they're still getting, paid and still on a roster, which, I mean, when you think about how some of these female athletes have been treated by like Nike,
yes.
where they just like, oh, you're pregnant. Okay. You're not going to make any money. So bye.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, and like you kind of we're talking a little bit about like, well, where's this kind of funding coming from? If it's like from weird places, and so if you want to be the league and be equals and get this, then unfortunately you're gonna have to make deals with we were talking about like Qatar Airlines, Fly Emirates,
Right.
and so those streams are questionable in itself. What's AIA for Tottenham? I don't know. They're probably like some terrorist group too.
I think they're gambling. No, not gambling. What's the other one they like to do? There's like it's either like a Saudi Arabia government. It's some sort of what are those things called? Proud shirt partner, English Premier, AIA, Global Principal Partner. See, this is like, if you can't explain what you do in a sentence, it's probably illegal.
What is this? 100% focused on Asia. Okay.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, we're learning stuff.
like healthcare is another one.
Yes.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Kaiser Permanente. I like Kaiser. I've always been a fan of Kaiser.
I have no opinion on Kaiser. I don't. I have a PPO. I use I don't do Radies. That's not right. That's not the right one.
Sharp?
Not Sharp. I could look it up. It's not Kaiser. We have a Kaiser plan in our district, but I don't use it. I have zero opinion, so I cannot.
No opinion. Yep.
I know that they're supportive of athletics in San Diego.
Yep.
But that is about as far. Oh, Scripps. I do Scripps.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Scripps is fine.
A San Diego Classic.
Yeah,
right?
that's good. Nice little location. You got one in Chula Vista. You got one in
La Jolla.
La Jolla, Hillcrest.
I mean, if I'm gonna go to one, it's gonna be in La Jolla, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel bougie when I go to the one in La Jolla. Yeah. I'm like, I'm going to La Jolla.
Like they might just have like colder IV drips if that's what you need or whatever.
They have Arnold Palmer IV drips because you can look out on the golf courses out there.
That makes sense.
Like, there you go.
Speaking of La Jolla, this team mostly lives in La Jolla probably. Caitlin Sheridan, Naomi Girma, Emily Van Egmond, Kelsey Turnbow, Sophia Jacobson, Alex Morgan, Kristen McNabb, Kaylee Reel, Kristen Westfall, Taylor Korniak, and Belle Breedy. 3 names that I've since learned how to pronounce because my Mexican accent does not allow me to say Breedy, Korniek.
And Bea Bridie.
Belle. Anyway, so this is the exact same lineup as they had last game here, where they didn't have such a favorable result against OL Reign at home, either at Torero Stadium against Megan Rapinoe, who I got a red card on the bench. She got the rare red card on a bench.
Which is the best. I saw someone put out, it's the best one because then your team isn't down to 10 people.
True. Yes.
You're still at 11.
Yeah. And, the coach probably isn't as mad at you for getting that red card on the bench because it's like, yeah,
you're out the next game, but maybe she was like, I was going to be not in the starting 11 next time anyway. So that's when you take them. You get the red card. So you're like, I know I'm not going to play next game as a scheduled day off anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to I'm going to pop off to the refs because I know they've been having some issues with officials and player safety.
The officials in NWSL are absolute garbage. It's disgusting how bad they are. It's so bad.
They also use ProRef.
It's right.
Yeah, they do.
So it's that same pool of referees.
Yes. And I don't think it's necessarily that different of a pool than USL.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So Alex, yes, taking down Gotham like Bane. Somebody tried to make that joke to Alex Morgan in the post game what she had, and just completely what are you talking? Like this post-match conference, asked me about the game. There's a lot of that. There's so much of that, and
people trying to be too cute,
and some people are just clueless, clueless to the sport, clueless to women's sports, clueless to both women's sports. And women and sports.
Right.
AIA is an insurance company from Asia. AIA all the way. But yeah, so this was the exact same lineup as they had last time. My argument for this is actually that I've seen her play a couple times live, seen her play, on TV and just translates so well as Taylor Korniak, who just got called up for the women's national team for the first time. And you were actually telling me about the Sports Illustrated article that came out on her.
Yeah, I saw this today. It's actually kind of a cool little story about how she was driving when she got the call that she was being called up. And she was like, I don't know this number. But she's like, hey, can we chat for a few minutes? And it's like, I wonder if it was like, we need to talk. And anytime you hear that, you're like, oh, shit.
Principal's office.
It's like, yeah, you're in
Your
trouble.
mind starts rolling. What was
or-
the last bad thing I did?
Right? Or your girlfriend's dumping you, or your boyfriend's dumping you, or both your boyfriend and girlfriend are dumping you. I don't know. I'm not here to judge. Yeah, she's like, she promptly pulled into a Shell gas station. I wonder if that's like product placement.
Yeah, right.
Good for her. But she's basically like, hey, I'm going to be called up. And this call up is a big deal, right? It's qualification for the Women's World Cup, or I'm just going to say the 2023 World Cup.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's a FIFA World Cup.
Yep.
It's a FIFA World Cup.
And the Olympics. So it's like, this is a great opportunity for her.
Yeah, it's not like you're saying the Women's Olympics.
Right. It's the Olympics.
It's the Olympics.
It's the 2023 World Cup. If you Google it, you'll know what it is.
Yep. Now I wonder.
2023 World Cup. It's like, did you mean the 2022 Men's World Cup?
All
Oh,
right.
the cricket. There's the Cricket World Cup and then the Women's World Cup.
Oh, no. Well,
it's all right. Cricket's
it's
fine.
interesting. Yeah, it's big. Big enough,
Yeah.
but still.
But I mean, it's a nice little article if you want to read it. If you just kind of if you search on Twitter San Diego Wave, it's one of the first things that pop up. I believe if you search San Diego Wave, I did it earlier and it popped up because I wanted to find it again. Yeah, if you scroll down past Hector, East Village
He
Times.
was here.
He was. He said, and then he said, "Peace out." Yeah, right there. 5 hours ago, I couldn't believe it. It was my dream ever since I was a little girl. On how Taylor Korniek is learned she had a spot in the U.S. WMNT wrestler, and that's so cool. To see a San Diego anything on a World Cup roster.
Yeah. It's really awesome because again, it's something we've never had here. Like something that if you see, San Diego, maybe they're from San Diego. Closest thing was Rey Mysterio, who got a couple world championships from San Diego, and that's always like, I know that guy. I know where he's from. But we actually saw her play that day that she got that call.
Yeah.
Was the day that she scored that brace to tie it up here in Torero. So she had herself just a roller coaster of emotions, just the riding a high on that day. And she's been playing just lights out, and she's the most different and notably, I don't know, just there's no response. No other team has a response for Korniak at this point. Like she's tall, she's strong, she's fast, she's good on the ball. She has great vision, good passing, good positioning, and for the most part, like her pairing with Alex Morgan has been the reason why Alex has been so successful. Is she puts him on that right spot. She intercepts balls. It's if you're watching Nemanja Matic play in his prime, like this is how well she's doing. Plus an added attacking, just je ne sais quoi about it. Just
you would have an argument to say that Taylor's that could be considered the best player on Wave. I mean, it's kind of hard to put her above Alex Morgan right now. Alex Morgan is having literally her
the
most
best,
successful NWSL. Now, a lot of that comes down to the essentially hey,
penalties.
can we play Gotham every week?
Yes.
And so I can score.
Alex.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 6 goals in 2 games, right? That's a hat trick averaging a hat trick every game.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's pretty unstoppable. But Naomi's had a pretty good season. Sheridan is a hell of a goalkeeper, but you have to really respect what Casey Stoney's done with this team and the team that they put together. Right, it's like greater than the sum of their parts. Like they have really talented people, but it's like I think the way that they play and the people that they play with are they just fit together really nice. Like Jacobson is a great addition. Maybe not like the best season, but it's like she's a quality piece.
Yeah.
Like a world class player. And so for someone like Taylor to get to be around these world class players just elevates her game. And so it speaks to the coaching staff and it speaks to the players too, because she mentioned that Alex Morgan's kind of like her mentor.
Yeah.
And so it's like that just shows it's like I'm here not just to like get my goals and to get my glory, but I'm here to lift other people up and make them better.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they're playing better, I'm going to play better. And, Alex Morgan doesn't have to score 3 goals every game because Taylor can get that brace. Taylor can score goals. And that's what I think is the most impressive. You look at a player like her and you're like, oh, she's tall and lanky. There's no way she moves fast. There's no way she's going to, her footwork is going to be not
amazing
great.
on the ball. Amazing on the ball. And it's a testament to, again, like the type of training that they're getting. Like the moment I get, and I've seen some wave training unfold, Casey Stoney's like on them, like from warm-ups, from running. You're going to run this way. You're going to run that way. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. Like what's that word? The when you do something, the intentionality of just everything. There's not a word that's just extra that Casey uses. No, everything's just thought out as it should, and just on the fly. Let me get in there with you. This is what you should have done. Training is really what's the difference here with that. So this is a game that they went on the road against Gotham, winning 3-0. They've now accumulated, 7-0 in these 2 games.
Wild.
And here they are. They stand atop of the table next to Portland Thorns, who they just played a couple weeks ago, and they will play in a bit. 12 teams. Like this, I'm really trying, and I'm going to figure this out. We're gonna go get into it. Chiva and I, we've already decidedly we're gonna go ahead and just learn as much as we can, because it's only 12 teams.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of learning that we need to do as far as what other teams come to bring. Same thing that we did with Loyal. Like, I didn't know who the hell Charlie Adams was. Right. I didn't know who Jack Metcalf was. But you start learning the league. You start learning everything. It makes it funner and more interesting.
I would point you to Meg Linehan at The Athletic.
Okay.
She does, it's called Full Time with Meg Linehan, and it's all about women's soccer, and they do a great job about bringing some knowledgeable people in to talk about NWSL. She covers NWSL, and she's been covering women's soccer for a while, and she has done some amazing stuff, and her podcast is super informative and well done. So it's called Full Time with Meg Linehan. It's in pretty much any podcast, and I've been listening to that for a while just to get a little bit more educated about the women's game. But she talks national teams, she talks international games, and she brings on people to talk about NWSL. She was one of the Athletic journalists that did a lot of the work in a lot of the abuse case stuff. So she's done a phenomenal job. So if that's where I would recommend. And then with Taylor, what I think she can bring to the national team is, like, when you got defenders like Wendy Renard from France, who's 6'1" and has been dominant in the air. Now you have an answer for that offensively. Now you're not having a 5'7" person trying to jump. Now you have your own 6'1" offensive player in there to kind of negate that height advantage that Renard has for France. And I think it just makes U.S. a little bit more dangerous and going forward.
And she's not the only one. Naomi Gurma, also part of pretty much the future of this women's team here in the States. I have to say, like, maybe it's because they win, and I'm cheap like that, like, sure. But if I was to cheer and root for a national team, I think the women's national team is the only U.S. team that I'll root for.
I mean,
Katie Johnson is on the wave, and she played for Mexico, but I don't have any connection to the Mexican women's team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Mia Hamm, bro. Like that like going back to that, like, it's just Mia Hamm's commercial with Michael Jordan. Anything you can do, I can do better. I'm pretty sure Mia Hamm won that one, and I remember that. That's a great commercial.
Yeah, I would have to say, like, I've never gone to a giant World Cup watch party for the men's national team like I have for the women's national team. But that's, again, because they win and they go do those things that you can have. We're going to watch the semifinals or finals at Petco Park.
Yeah, because, the women's national team actually doesn't miss World Cups as the men do here in the U.S. Something Mexico has no idea what it's like to miss a World Cup. But talking about World Cup, Alan, I think let's start docking it down. And I do have a nice little, mental. Yes. What is it called? The mental gymnastics for you with the World Cup coming up. So I have a tier list, essentially
Okay.
S, A, B, C, D. S being the top, pretty
Okay.
much World Cup contenders, all the way to the bottom, which probably
Right.
won't make it out of the group stages. So, as you were saying, Egypt is not here because last week we said, oh, World Cup teams, Egypt. Oh, that must be Egypt. Ended up being Morocco, but
Yeah, it's all good.
shame on us. So let's start. Is there any team that you definitely just know? All right, they're not going to make it out. Like you just want let's just take them out. Like let's just.
I think there are two Middle Eastern teams that I think have no business. I mean, Qatar is probably not making it out of the group. I would be surprised if they win a game.
Mhm.
Would be amazing. I mean, I'd be surprised if they got a point. But yeah, Qatar, probably Saudi Arabia.
All right, so let's go ahead and let's put the Saudis right there. Let's go with Qatar right there. Are you impressed that I knew those flags?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Saudi Arabia one.
Yeah.
The Qatar one is like, I'm looking for that purple.
All right. And anywhere else that just starting, like these fools are just not making it out.
Probably Ghana. I don't think they've been playing terribly well. Like I'm looking up their 2022 results, and it's like a loss, draw to Gabon, loss, draw to Nigeria, and a draw to Nigeria.
Marca, just want you to register. No,
No, I
refuse.
don't want to.
I refuse, Marca.
Ghana. I would probably. What group are they in? I don't even know what group.
Ghana having history with Mexico, tying Mexico did that World Cup.
And some of these, like, there are some groups that are like, if it kind of depends on what group they're in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it was just like overall, who do I think, and they were just like against everybody, but fine. Cookies are cookies. Ghana is that's
With
bots.
Portugal, Uruguay, and South Korea.
Yeah, no, they're not getting out of that one.
Fun fact, I have 3 South Korean children in my summer camp program
All right.
that speak no English, and it's been absolutely fun just Google translating it. The older one of the kids, like, literally, like, how do you communicate? Like, hey,
Yeah.
we're going to go to the restaurant, we're going to do this, like, Google Translate, and then we came up with, like, Haseong, Huming Sun. We said Asayon, like, I figured that one out. But yeah, they are big Huming Sun fans, surprisingly.
Let's see, so Group A is definitely Qatar. Saudi Arabia at Group C. That's going to be almost impossible to get out of. You have Argentina, Mexico, Poland. Yeah. Maybe.
All right.
Yeah.
You have an idea what the groups look like. If you need me to go back to it, you let me know. But here we are.
Okay.
We have 3 teams just at the bottom,
Yeah,
right? You
yeah.
put Morocco there, maybe?
Probably.
All right. Let's go to the top now. Argentina.
Yeah, I mean, based on how well they're playing right now, I would probably put them like S or A. I would probably put them in S based on how well they're playing.
So just World Cup favorites to win. This is, by the way, I think this is going to be the Allen list. This is your list. No pressure. Belgium.
I would probably Belgium. I'd probably put them in A. I think they're a good team. Like I think they could. Like Belgium is like everyone. Belgium and Netherlands are like everyone's dark horse, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, they'll do well, but if they win, it'll be great. But I don't think that they're gonna. They're not favorites, but their group is Canada, Morocco, and
Croatia.
yes, or as Chiva said yesterday, just Luka Modric. Not yesterday, last week.
Last week, yeah.
Just Luka Modric.
Brozovic. I mean, aging Rakitic, but no, they still have a good base.
So Belgium gets out of the group. They might even win that group. I think they have and so that puts them in a pretty good position. All right,
Brazil.
Oh, they got to be S.
They're going to win the World Cup. I that's my team.
Aren't they like they're like pretty much the favorite?
Brazil
right?
is my other team.
Brazil.
Brazil.
I know.
Cameroon.
I want to put this in B only because of RuPaul's Drag Race, but they probably deserve to be in C.
All right, we'll put them on C. Canada. We're just talking about their group. Not playing well recently.
No, but I almost don't want to count Canada out. I think in that group, they're gonna have I think it's a coin flip between them and Croatia getting out of that group. To be honest, how like they can play well. I'm gonna put them in. Oh, probably B.
B. Wow. It's gonna be interesting to see where you put Mexico. Costa Rica.
I might move some of these around as we go. Costa Rica, probably
Beating the Kiwis. We found out why Costa Rica won. Nick Duffy did not, I repeat, did not have a breakfast burrito.
Yeah.
His lucky breakfast burrito. He skipped it and he didn't realize it. Like, that's on him, letting the whole island down.
Costa Rica, Los Ticos, probably. I've got to put them in C.
All right, we'll throw them in on C. Croatia, we were just talking about them too.
Croatia's a tough one because it's like what I know about them is like how good they used to be, but you still got Luka Modric on that team.
Yeah,
I gotta put. Let's put him at B. I might move him up, but B.
Denmark with a resurrected Eriksson.
I wish there was like an A minus. That's where I put them.
Well, I mean, you can't put them in front.
Yeah, let's do that.
Them.
Let's do that.
So, do we switch these?
Yeah.
Right. I won't worry about these because nobody cares about
whatever.
Ecuador.
Ooh, Ecuador. I don't know a ton about Ecuador. Let's put them in C.
Let's put them in C. Good observation, Ricardo. Why is the Peru flag there? Australia won that one. So we'll just pretend that Peru is Australia.
All right.
France.
You got to put them as a favorite too, right?
Up there. Oh, that's just classic. I love this. Just the
Right?
color schemes. And,
Right.
It's beautiful. England.
I'm going to put them in A. I think, although they've not been playing well recently, it'll be different in the World Cup.
Yeah. Gary Southgate will figure it out. Do you put them there?
No, I put Germany ahead of them.
Well, good thing that's Belgium.
Or Belgium. Oh, fuck. Vertical, horizontal. My head was tilted. Yeah, I think I like Belgium a little bit more than I like England. I would understand why England would be in front, but this is mine, so fuck all the haters.
Mannschaft.
I would probably let's put them in A, but let's put them toward the end of A.
Ooh, the end of A.
Yeah.
Joachim Löw's tenure is just coming to an end.
They're fine, but I think that they're in that next tier. I think like they could do well, but I'm not like sold on them as an absolute favorite. But it's hard to like Germany in World Cup, like
anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Iran.
So far away that
See, that's what I'm saying. Chiva would never.
I think that they're better than most people think they are. But I'm gonna put them in probably the C group because I don't want to put them in B.
Let's jump around a little bit.
Slovakia, are they even a thing?
No.
Who are they? No,
Serbia.
C. Yeah, Serbia. Yeah, let's do C. Let's do it like the front of C.
The front of C.
Yeah, because I don't think they're that far away.
Okay. Japan.
Oh, Japan's got it. Let's move Serbia to the end of B, and let's put Japan in C.
I'll come back. Netherlands.
Oh, the Netherlands.
Your boy Van Dijk.
Yeah, this is a tough one too because it's like this is another like A minus team. So let's put them in front of Denmark. Yeah.
Okay. So not quite Germany, England, because they did miss the last World Cup too.
Yeah, not quite Germany, England.
All right, Australia.
Australia. Just because of whatever. Let's put them in C just to be nice at the end of C. Yeah.
Poland.
Ooh, this is another tough one because it's like they're pretty competitive. I'm gonna put them. Let's put them at the very end of B.
Very end of B. Very generous.
Yes.
Ecuador is better than Canada. Whenever Ricardo was saying, to be honest, we would put them in B. This is Alan's list, so you can put it where the
Which one's Ecuador? Do I have them in C?
Yeah, you have them in C.
Yeah, I'm keeping them there.
Portugal.
Portugal.
Ronaldo's last World Cup. Maybe.
I'm not like sold on Portugal as being like a favorite.
Mm-hmm.
They've been not super impressive in some of the games I've been watching, but I still think they're in an A.
Ooh.
End. Yeah, that end.
The end of A. And anybody here, again, dark horse territory, where in the Euros, if this was the Euros, Portugal ended up winning. I think they would have been in that similar spot.
Yeah, I think it's like, for me, it's like the top three are definitely like the favorites. A is like, I wouldn't be surprised if they won.
Yeah.
B is like, you can probably win, but this is where your like dark horse is coming from. And I think, I don't think Ecuador is a bad shout for that one either.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're a little bit on the outside. But yeah.
Scotland
didn't even make it.
Well, they're here, so we're missing
Who'd
a team.
they get? They got eliminated by Ukraine.
Yeah. So this should be Wales. So this is Wales. Scotland is Wales.
Let's put them in C. They're fine.
Senegal.
Oh, Senegal.
Senegal has one of my favorite games ever, where they beat France in the opening game of the 2006 World Cup.
I would put them in front of Canada, but behind Croatia.
Boom.
This is gonna be a little bit of a bell curve. I think there's gonna be more groups in B and C.
Yeah.
As there should be, right? It's the World Cup.
España. Okay.
We'll South Spain. Korea. South Korea. You can put them in C.
Put them in C.
Yeah, wherever. Doesn't matter.
España.
Oh, I think
blood.
Yeah, I think it's hard to bet against Spain, right? Like, I think Spain could be almost an S, but I'm gonna put them in the front of A.
Front of A. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all right. Switch Belgium. Switch.
Belgium's like no.
Chocolate.
I do love me some Swiss chocolate.
Granit Xhaka.
Let's put them at the front of B.
Front of B. Interesting.
Yeah. I'm trying here. I'm trying to be a teacher.
Tunisia?
What? Who's a Tunisia?
I don't know.
Let's put them in D.
Oh man, they're gonna prove you wrong. The look on your face when they win the World Cup. Uruguay.
Oof. Let's put them. I'm gonna put them. I'm gonna move. Can I put Switzerland behind Denmark? Yeah, and then I'm gonna put Uruguay right behind Netherlands.
That's fair. I like that.
Does that look better? Those two.
All right.
I'm gonna put both of those. This is gonna be like very CONCACAF. Those are gonna go both of those directly between Senegal and Canada. And I think right now, I would put Mexico behind U.S.
All right.
I mean, how do I look?
It's not bad. So, I mean, if we're going by, like, group stages, that means, the end of C probably won't make it out.
Right.
D's just definitely not making it.
Right.
B, you're probably going to have those second-place teams and, jockeying for position, second, third-place teams. The quarterfinals are there with obviously the A and B tier. Semifinals looking like the A and S tiers.
Right.
Moving closer to the semi, then it's one of the team. Yeah, I mean that looks good. Eventually, Brazil winning the World Cup.
Mexico doesn't deserve B.
Oh, ouch.
I think Mexico and U.S. are among the 16 top teams.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't put them very much higher than that. And I think so. For that, I think they are squarely in the middle of a B. Like, you can make an argument that they're probably better than Senegal, but Mane's just been building hospitals and just being everything you'd hope a world superstar would be. Going like Wales is probably higher too. Like, but
Wales.
They're Scotland. Yeah, I'm probably wrong about some of these, but like Canada's probably lower, Wales is probably higher. But once you get into that B range, I think it's going to be what kind of tournament and how do you play those 3 games? Because that's what it basically boils down to. How do you play those 3 games?
I'm excited for some Winter World Cup. And I think that's a good place. It's late. I really appreciate you coming so south, coming into the studio.
Yeah,
on a short notice, missing a Padre game.
Yeah.
Padres ended up
Did they win?
Winning. We both missed a winning Padre game.
It's all good.
4-1 against Arizona, so that's fun. Prayers to Manny Machado's ankle.
Yeah.
His ankle just got
destroyed.
Did you see it?
I did not.
Yeah,
I know that he was. It said sprain. I was like,
yeah, it's a sprain, but like it looked like a break. It was wild.
Not fun.
Where can they find you, Mr. Allen?
A Underwood 48 on the Twitter machines.
Perfect. And you can find him here on Two Balls and Mike on every episode where we talk about San Diego Loyal. Thank you for coming in. You are the best. Thank you for those of you stuck here. Let us know what you think, what you'd like. Comment, subscribe, follow. We'll give more jersey giveaways and stuff for the masses. Thank you. You guys are awesome.
Love you guys.